Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Delight, and in today's tutorial I'll be looking into the 6 errors that are not shown in the trial balance. If you haven't watched my tutorial on the trial balance, you can watch the video with the link in the description below. Please subscribe to my channel if you aren't already a subscriber, and hit the notification bell to get a notification every time I upload a new video. The error of commission is an error that takes place when the correct amount is entered into the right class of accounts but in the wrong account. Suppose you had the following transaction. Nadia bought goods on credit worth $200 from D. Brown on the 4th of January 2021. The two accounts would be the purchases account and the D. Brown account. The correct way to record the transaction would be to debit the purchases account with $200 and credit the D. Brown account with $200. When an error of commission takes place, the purchases account is debited with an amount of $200. Instead of crediting the D. Brown account, we will then credit the B. Brown account. The B. Brown account has been mistaken for the D. Brown account. Both the D. Brown and B. Brown accounts are accounts for debtors, meaning that the transaction has been recorded in the right class of accounts but in the wrong account. The top part is the correct way of recording the transaction. The error of complete reversal is an error that takes place when the correct accounts are used but each item is shown on the wrong side of the account. Here's a transaction. Nadia bought goods on credit worth $200 from D. Brown on the 4th of January 2021. The two accounts would be the purchases account and the D. Brown account. First, I'm going to show you the correct way of recording the transaction. The purchases account is debited with $200 and the D. Brown account is credited with the same amount. When an error of complete reversal takes place, the purchases account would be credited with $200 and the D. Brown account would be debited with the same amount. The transaction has been recorded on the wrong side of each account, making the top part correct and the bottom part incorrect. The error of omission is an error that takes place when a transaction is not recorded into the ledger accounts at all. It is completely left out, therefore there are no entries made. Moving on to the fourth error, the error of original entry. It is an error that takes place when the wrong sequence of individual characters of an amount in a transaction is entered. In simple terms, this means numbers are switched when recording a transaction. Now let's see where this transaction is recorded. Nadia paid rent $134 with cash on the 31st of January 2021. The accounts involved are the cash account and the rent account. The correct way of recording this transaction is crediting the cash account with $134 and debiting the rent account with $134. The incorrect way of recording this transaction after an error of original entry has taken place is to credit the cash account with an amount of $143 and debiting the rent account with the same amount, instead of $134. What has happened is that the numbers 3 and 4 have switched positions in both entries and there's an error. This error is called the transposition error. The error of principal is an error that takes place when the right amount of a transaction is entered into the correct side of the wrong class of accounts. Let's look at this transaction. Nadia bought office stationery with $25 of cash on the 17th of January. The two accounts involved are the cash account and office stationery account. The correct way of recording the transaction is to credit the cash account with an amount of $25 and debiting the office stationery account with $25. The incorrect way of recording this transaction after an error of principal has taken place is crediting the cash account with $25 and debiting the purchaser's account with the same amount. The transaction has been recorded in the purchaser's account instead of the office stationery account. Therefore, the transaction has been entered in the wrong class of accounts. The last error is the compensation error. It is an error that takes place when two or more errors occur on both sides, that is, overstating or understating amounts in a transaction. Let's look at the following transaction. Nadia took $100 cash for personal use on the 15th of January 2021. The two accounts involved are the cash account and drawings account. The correct way of recording the transaction is to credit the cash account with $200 and debit the drawings account with $200. When an error of compensation takes place, the cash account is credited with an amount of $400 and the drawings account is debited with the same amount. Both accounts have been overstated by $200. Here's an overview. When an error of commission takes place, the transaction is recorded in the wrong account, the amount recorded is correct, the class of accounts are correct, and the side on which the transaction is recorded is correct. When an error of complete reversal takes place, the transaction is recorded in the right account, the amount recorded is correct, the class of accounts are correct, but the sides on which the transaction is recorded in the ledger accounts is incorrect. With the error of omission, there are no recordings done at all. If an error of original entry takes place, the transaction is recorded in the right account, but the amount is wrong. The class of accounts and sides in which the transaction is recorded are correct. When the error of principal takes place, the account in which the transaction is recorded is correct. The amount is correct, but the class of accounts is incorrect. The sides on which the entries are made is also correct. And finally, when the compensating error takes place, the only incorrect item is the amount recorded in the ledger accounts. It is usually understated or overstated. That's it for today's tutorial. Please like and share the link if you found it helpful. And also please leave a comment in the comment section below.